What's going on, guys? It's DanBeforeTime. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that No Man's Sky launched last week. And unless that was a really big heavy rock, you also probably know that the PC version launched with its fair share of issues. Now, I could go on a rant here about how gaming journalism as a collective basically acted like a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum on a grocery store floor this week, but I'll save that for another video. Now, if you were paying attention, assuming you could hear over the bitching and moaning of grown-ass men that get paid to play video games, you might have heard that there's some people out there that actually like this game. Like, a whole lot of people, including a whole lot of PC players who aren't ready to give up a game they waited 2.5 years for because of some frame rate drops. But they do want to know, and rightfully so, when can they expect some fixes? Well, Hello Games has some answers. Yesterday, they released some workarounds for some of the most common issues. I'm going to go ahead and link that down in the description below, and they do recommend trying these workarounds first if you are having these issues, but in addition to the workaround, they also released an experimental patch. So I wanted to go over the details of those patch notes because I know a lot of you play on PC. So just keep in mind some of the terms I'm going to use might not be familiar to our console users. So first up on the list, we have improved AMD Phenom support. Thousands of lines of assembly have been rewritten overnight to support AMD CPUs, and while the game code no longer relies on anything else above SSE 2, Havok physics still require supplemental SSE 3, but they go on to say that they are discussing those issues with Havok. Next up on the list of fixes is alt-tabbing. Some people with certain configurations were complaining about crashing or not paused correctly when they alt-tab out. This should now be resolved. Shader caching has also been addressed. This was a big one. Frame rate was initially stuttering due to shaders not being cached correctly by the GPU on some systems. So they have completely replaced the GPU caching system, but they do say that you may notice some stutter during the Galactic Map intro into the game the very first time you run it, but it should be smoother from then on. This will be fixed in the future. And they say this is particularly true on ATI cards. And this is good because this is probably the biggest issue that I heard so much about this week is the frame rate stutters. And to be fair, it was definitely noticeable in streams and stuff that I watched. So it's very good to know that they've already come up with a fix. Next up is mouse jitter, which was another big complaint. Smoothing on mouse movement has been improved to prevent hitching or stuttering, and is now adjustable through the options menu under mouse smoothing. Another big point of contention was the max FPS cap. So basically on some CPU GPU configurations, setting max FPS to 60 or 30 was not giving 60 or 30 FPS, and this was causing some more stuttering, so this has been improved. Next up, we have improved performance on CPUs with 4 threads or fewer, so this is good news for those with slightly older CPUs. Next, we have an update on Intel GPUs. The game will now let you know if you're trying to run with an unsupported GPU, and this will hopefully flag for some users that their high-end GPU has not been selected. And the last item on the patch list is GSync. GSync has now been disabled by default, which was causing an issue for some users. So, if you're on PC and you want to access this experimental branch, what you need to do is go into Steam, right-click on the game from the library page and select Properties. Among the available tabs will be the Betas tab. Click on that, enter the code experimental with a 3, so it's 3XPERIMENTAL, and your new branch should be listed in the drop-down menu under Select Beta you would like to opt into. And just keep in mind that they would like you to try the workarounds first before you go into the experimental branch, and I will have those workarounds linked in the description. So, it's great that Hello Games responded so quickly and is already working on fixes for these major issues. Obviously, this is not the PC launch that they envisioned. Nobody wants to launch a game that they work so hard on and have it not run for certain people. So let's try to remember that while criticisms are fair for a game that you're spending $60 hard-earned dollars on, there's also human beings on the other end of that equation. They're not perfect and they're doing the best they can under the circumstances. They are programmers, they're not programs. And hopefully this will all be behind us soon so we can all equally enjoy the game we've waited so long for. If you're on PC and you try this experimental patch, let me know in the comments down below how it worked for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, I've been DanBeforeTime. You've been awesome. And until next time, enjoy your travels.